In this lesson, we'll cover adding a floor slab. So we're currently looking at a plan view, specifically floor 1 or the entry level, and we need to add a slab or a floor. To do that, let's go to the Structure tab. We can click the drop-down for Floor and choose Structural. Once we choose Structural, on the left, we could choose the property of the type of floor we want to create. In this instance here, I'm going to choose the Concrete Commercial 362 millimeter. Go ahead and select it. This will apply that type. Now, in the upper right portion of the ribbon, Revit presents us with the draw tools to create our floor. We could select lines, pick walls, or pick supports. Or we could choose to just draw lines. I'm going to choose just to draw a line. Also, I can create an offset. Maybe I want to offset from the lines I pick 500 millimeters. So I'll key in 500 millimeters. Now I can start picking points. So within Revit, I'm going to start in the upper left. I'm going to pick a point at the intersection of one of my grids, zoom down, and notice, depending on the direction you go, I'm offsetting to the right or to the left. Now I can continue to draw this way and reverse the actual floor or orientation after the fact, or I can stop and start the command. I'm going to continue on in this direction. I'm going to drag my mouse out beyond the current wall, click, and then drag down to my other grid line, and then come back into where my column intersects, and I could keep going around following the column pattern of my current layout. Now I also can use the other tools such as rectangle or curve or arc. You can again pick lines. I can also pick walls. I can even pick columns. One key thing though is the shape you're creating cannot have any open edges and it cannot have any crossing lines. For example, when I'm done, if I click Modify, I have an opening. Revit will not accept this. So on the Modify tool, I use the Trim Extend Corner command to actually trim this corner so it's tight and closed. Now, if I want to modify any of my lines to further extend them, I simply can select the line and drag it to its new position. If I want to drag from a current position to a line to a grid, I can drag and drop on top of a grid or beyond. Depending upon how you drew your shape, the lines may clean up as you drag your lines. Now, the indicator on the top indicates the actual direction for my lines, or depending upon what type of structural floor this is, the structural elements within the floor. With the boundary complete, my last step is to click the green check mark, which will draw the structural floor. Now I can see the structural floor highlighted in blue. If you need to edit the structural floor, simply select the floor. To edit the boundary on the ribbon, click Edit Boundary. Now you're back in the edit mode and I can edit the boundary. Once done, click the green check mark. If you want to update the properties or change the floor type, again, highlight the floor, and then I can change the floor type on the left in the property area, or I can change the properties of the floor listed below the type. To deselect the floor, simply click in the background. Now, another type of element related to a floor could be a foundation, such as a slab. You can add a structural foundation as well using the same method as what we used here. So as a review, in this lesson, we looked at creating and adding floor slabs. We started out first by starting the structural floor command, then we chose the floor type to use, then we could actually draw the perimeter or boundary of the floor by drawing lines, selecting lines, picking walls, picking columns, or drawing a variety of different shapes. We chose to draw a line, and we drew lines around the perimeter of the building. We also applied an offset from the points we picked. Then we adjusted the lines by moving them and cleaned the corners up by using the Modify tools such as Trim and Extend. Then we saved the actual boundary, which drew the actual floor, in this case the structural floor. To modify the structural floor, simply select it, choose Edit Boundary to change the boundary, or modify the properties in the property area on the left.